Welcome back to Primary Source China Investment. This week we're on show U6, and we're almost at the halfway point. So we thought we'd check where the Chinese equities have gone, where they're going, and base that on what we said at the beginning of 2024. Warning, Peng Guo and I are going to take several victory laps. At the end of 2023, we discussed what might happen in 2024. That was show X5. First up, like 2023 and 2022 before, top analysts were all talking bullish about China shares for 2024. Peng Guo, you and I were a little bit more tepid, right? We said, we might bounce along a little bit. I think we had pretty rational expectations, probably below 10%. MCHI, which has some of the largest traded Chinese companies traded in Hong Kong and the US, is up about 7%. KWEB, the largest China ETF, tracking the largest Chinese companies, is up about 6%, and the broad-based CSI 300, traded as ASHR in the US, is down 25 basis points. There was plenty of excitement when these indexes were up more than twice that about 6 weeks ago. But in December, we suggested investing directly in A shares and specifically in banks and telecom, tech, and communications. So banks as one sector, and the other is telecom, tech, and communications, not necessarily tech, but the backbone for tech. And those sectors were up 15.23% and 18.12% year to date. So, Peng Guo, I think we can firmly pat ourselves on the back there. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, we talked about this before. As long as the market drops, you can never expect it to return back. Like someone gets sick, you always just stop the worst. The China market, it seems to just stop and get worse, and naturally bounced back for a few weeks. So it's still around the 3,000 up down. So that is a pretty normal as long as the market reaches like the bottom area. So if the market get up, that's really need very complicated factors and drivers to push them back.
Yeah. When you say those factors, I think maybe you're referring to the retail factor or institutional factor. Why don't you tell me what you think specifically would require?
And China right now, the first is always the policy factor. So policy factor is a little bit right now is all try to push the market back, but the consumer confidence didn't get recovered. Employee rate is very high. So people really lack of the income, and although private business owners and lack of the driver, they don't have confidence to move forward. So I think right now, most of the money just still sitting in the bank. So as well as the debt is pretty high, and most incomes used to return back the debt. So that is a big problem, a big pressures for the individuals. So all of this is make the consumption cannot get up. That's the why such kind of a luxury product or social drink is get planned.
Yeah, you talk about the consumer. So what's the consumer facing? I just pulled a chart, a 2-year chart, just a 2-year chart of the CSI 300 and Multi, for example. CSI 300 down 20%, Multi down 27% in 2 years. On top of that, Chinese individuals' largest asset is usually their home. That asset is down maybe 10 to 20% as well. So you can see that people are not optimistic. You're taking big losses, big markdowns on your portfolio, big losses, markdowns on your real estate.
I still have some Multi as a personal asset.
Yeah, some like special release or something, right? Yeah. So I did want to.
And I think right now people are looking for the new driver. So that's definitely very important. So automobile is like the key area, like the training and dollars, a big market. So right now, choose this one and the new energy. Those are two big areas, as well as a lot of the new technology still make the progress. So try to open a new market and complete the new consumption.
Yeah, so some of the names we'll throw up some of these names, and they are not the sexy names that you hear about all day, every day. And this is in the telecom tech sector that we keep talking about. You don't have names that are recognizable to most people. I mean, maybe the biggest name is ZTE that people know, but the list is here. You can see those names, and that index is, that, like we said, that index is up 18% year to date. The other thing is the banking sector is also up very strongly year to date. And the number one holding in that sector is a name that I've been talking about for 15 years, which is China Merchants Bank. So those names still trade at a very low PE. It's important because in the beginning of the year, we also talked about China as maybe a value play, right?
Yeah.
The PE of the market is still at 12 right now. If you look at China Merchants Bank is up 20% year to date. It trades at a 6 PE and has a 5% dividend. You could do a lot worse. China Merchants Bank is not going anywhere. So some of the times you have to look at the picks and shovels versus the gold diggers. And I think that's the message here with a lot of that tech sector. This is the backbone of the internet and the backbone of technology for China. And a lot of these banks are also the backbone for the next wave of investment and the next wave of entrepreneurship in China.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, so this is a good choice or some conservative way. Always allocate something percentage into the bank sectors and also benefit from firstly benefit from the country's policy. Another thing that's pretty interesting is coal. So for the natural resource is pretty much like the entire market up and down, but for the coal it's pretty get steady up and almost get flat, probably related to the crude oil as well as worldwide, and also coal is right now is still the major energy provider in China. Even
people forget that they like to think everything's just everything's wind and solar, but there's coal is the biggest contributor. Final note on renminbi. So year to date, U.S. dollar's been strong, renminbi's been weak. Some have said that China is like managing the renminbi, but it's weakened about 2.7% year to date, but 15% since February of 2022. And this tracks probably with the strategy from Beijing of exports, exports, exports. Weak currency makes exports cheaper for U.S. dollar buyers. So just wanted to label that and throw this chart up. We're going to leave it here with show U6. We'll be off for a couple of weeks, but we'll see you when we get back.
Thank you. Enjoy the summer.